The world changed in an instant. One moment everything was normal, the next chaos reigned. It started subtly, a misplaced book, a floating feather. Then a car's engine suddenly lifted into the air, followed by an entire section of highway collapsing as the concrete beneath it lost its grip on reality. Panic erupted across the globe. The initial confusion gave way to terror as people witnessed everyday objects behaving erratically. News reports were frantic, filled with incomprehensible images of buildings tilting precariously, cars suspended midair, and furniture floating away like dandelion seeds. Scientists scrambled for answers, their theories as unstable as the world around them. Some theorized a massive gravitational anomaly, others spoke of a new force affecting matter selectively. The truth remained elusive, a maddening puzzle with pieces scattered across a crumbling landscape. The effects were wildly unpredictable. Wood seemingly at random would defy gravity, soaring into the sky only to crash back down with devastating force. Steel structures remained stubbornly grounded, while glass shattered and floated away on an invisible breeze. Water previously confined to rivers and oceans behaved unpredictably, sometimes becoming weightless and other times impossibly dense. Entire cities were swallowed by capricious waves as water surged without warning. People struggled to navigate a world where the most basic laws of physics no longer applied. Walking became a perilous undertaking. A misplaced step could lead to a sudden plummet from a suddenly weightless section of the sidewalk. Food preparation turned into a chaotic game of chance as fruits floated away and utensils defied their usual trajectory. Hospitals were overwhelmed, treating injuries from falling objects and navigating the challenges of operating in an environment where the ground could shift without notice. Governments collapsed as infrastructure failed and society dissolved into desperate attempts for survival. Some people resorted to scavenging materials that retained their weight, hoping to rebuild, but the constant shift in gravity made any long-term construction a gamble. Underground bunkers, previously considered obsolete, became highly sought-after sanctuaries from the unpredictable forces above. Master builders attempted to utilize this new phenomenon, building gravity-defying structures of wood, aiming to replace the crumbling concrete buildings of the old world. However, it proved to be a difficult process, as wood didn't always remain weightless. Their experiments were risky endeavors, often resulting in disastrous collapses. The atmosphere was thick with fear, and hope was a luxury only some could afford. Food supplies dwindled as farming became nearly impossible, and the transportation of goods was severely impacted. Among the chaos, scientists worked tirelessly. They hypothesized that the gravitational shift was linked to a rare isotope found deep within the Earth's core. Some believed that manipulating this isotope could restore the natural equilibrium. Others, however, feared the consequences of such an intervention. They worked day and night, with limited resources and uncertain prospects, driven by a sense of responsibility to save the remainder of humanity. Could they find a solution before the world completely fell apart? Would they be able to control the chaotic dance of gravity, or were they doomed to live in a world where everything was constantly shifting, threatening to fall apart at any second? Their research led them to believe that a specific wavelength of energy could counteract the isotope's effect. They began constructing a massive device to generate this wavelength, hoping to stabilize gravity. The race against time was intense, with the very survival of humanity hanging in the balance. The project was a desperate gamble, fraught with the risks of creating an even greater catastrophe. Yet it was their only hope. Would they succeed in restoring balance to the world, or would their last-ditch effort only serve to accelerate the planet's impending doom? The air crackled with anticipation as they initiated the device. Would their calculations prove true? Would the world shudder and then settle into a predictable rhythm once more? Or would they be wrong, plunging humanity into an even greater crisis than the one they were trying to fix? The fate of the world hung in a precarious balance, a gamble with a potential reward only slightly less than the potential of utter annihilation. The countdown commenced, a moment that would either save the world or seal its demise. The tension was palpable, a shared anxiety that resonated across the globe. Would the gamble pay off?